What the hell do I know? I'm just JB, middle-aged dad with ADD. Candid combos, jokes so lame, jabronis pulling a poker face. Just a couple of dudes with ADD. What the hell do I know? With JB.
We are back again. This is, I guess, the next episode.
22?
Episode 22 for What the Hell Do I Know with JB.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about today's guest. Oh, my gosh. But first, I want to welcome you to our Floors.com studio. That's Floors.com. Floors.com is your one-stop shop for your next flooring or wall covering, remodel, or build. It's a great place. Great
it's
spot.
beautiful.
They ship across all of these United States. Well, let me just say 48. You know what? I need to ask them. I know 48. The lower 48, they're shipping to. If you're in Puerto Rico, not so certain.
I feel like you ship anywhere it's for the right price.
I feel like you should be able to ship anywhere if it's for the right price.
For sure.
Floors.com should be your stop for all your needs in flooring. But I am so excited for our next guest. And she is the founder.
Well, sort of.
Sort of. Okay, well, you could take us through that. The CEO, but you are the Chief Executive Officer of Emerald Coast Children's Advocacy Center. Advocacy Center. I need to say that better.
Big word.
Emerald Coast Children's, and that's the, by the way, I messed up probably the most important word, which is the advocacy. The Advocacy Center. And you can find them online at www. Do you even do that?
No, you don't
even have to do that. You don't put the www.
We started with the www
that was
back in the day.
1900s.
What is it? It was so 1900s.
Right? So 1900s.
What does it stand for, Jason?
World Wide Web.
Oh, you still know that? Okay.
You can't stump me.
Yeah.
What are you talking to, boy? So it is ECCAC.org.
Yep.
Emerald Coast Children's Advocacy Center.org.
Good
and you
job.
can find them on there. I did pretty good
You
there.
did. Good job.
But Julie Porterfield, I am so excited to have you here.
I'm honored to be here. Thank
oh my
you for
gosh!
having
The
me.
fact that you said you're honored to be here,
got him.
just elevated, got him
On the green couch.
You're on the green couch. I like that.
Yeah.
You're on the green couch.
Yeah.
Just the fact that you said honored, I think we are now an $11 podcast.
Yeah. Awesome.
Just by the word honored to be here.
You should do 12.
12 by the end of this.
Yeah.
We're
We should get all the email addresses for
we
that.
usually go down. By the end of this,
well.
it usually goes down.
Yeah.
But I'm so excited to have you here. And I think I read somewhere you were 23 plus years.
It's 25.
25.
All right.
This year.
So what I saw is 23 online somewhere, but it's 23 plus. So now 25 this year.
We're 25.
But you have been there
25 years.
the entire
The whole
time.
time. Wow.
Wow.
25 years. That is insane.
1999 for you math
Holy
whiz.
cow.
Yeah.
25 years. Is that like is that the silver anniversary or is that gold?
It's a quarter of a century.
Quarter of a century.
It's a long
It's a long time. I mean, when you think about it, 25, if you think about it in human years, not dog years, human years, 25 is about the time you start figuring out that you might actually have a shot at doing something in this life.
He started having some ideas.
So,
You're like,
I mean,
hey,
you
can
guys
do
have
this.
been doing things for 25 years.
We have been doing things for 25.
things for 25 years. So that's amazing.
Good stuff.
100%. And before we get into that, though, we have to play What the Hell Do I Know with Julie Porterfield. And we're going to have 7 questions. Rapid succession.
Easy peasy.
Rapid succession. You can pass. You can pass any time.
Okay.
No gotcha
And I'll answer
questions.
for you.
You can pass.
Okay.
You can pass. We'll help you. My editor will put a clock on. And here we go. Question 1. I ask this of locals sometimes. When was the last time you were at the beach in a chair with a towel?
2 years ago.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Juice does it more often.
Wow.
I'm outside of 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
2 years ago. It doesn't happen much. Number 2, favorite place for us, or for you, I'm sorry, favorite place for you to watch a sunset?
At my house.
Your house. Perfect. Yes. So
Right
you got
around
a
the
great
corner.
view.
Yep.
Right around the corner from our studio. That's what we were just talking
Yes,
about. So, and are you looking at the bay then? Because
No, we're looking. We have a little. Well, we can. We have a little pond, a
so
little
you
lake.
can get over there.
Yeah.
And perfect. That's so good because that sunset right there at Mid-Bay Bridge is
beautiful.
beautiful, isn't it?
It
All right.
is.
So number 3, what was your first car?
It was a Maverick
Maverick.
All
Who
right.
made that?
with snow tires.
All right.
Tires, it's so good. All right. Number 4, favorite place to travel to on vacation.
The mountains.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Any particular spot in the
We
mountains?
just went to LJ, which was beautiful.
Georgia,
love
right?
LJ,
Blue Ridge
yeah.
Mountains. That's beautiful. Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Number 5, where did you grow up, or kind of where are you from? If you were saying,
Pretty
I'm
much
from
here because I've been here for 50 years.
Oh, well, you're here the whole time.
So-
Yeah, that's right. Oh, I just
Choctaw
heard
High
you say
School, yeah.
Choctaw High School.
Choctaw Indians.
That's
So,
right.
yeah.
The Indians.
Indians.
That's right. They
Yeah.
would be against the Fort Walton,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Fort Walton.
Vikings,
That's I hear big rivalry down here.
It is.
City
Yes.
rivalry.
Well, it's
Big
only two
rivalry.
high
And
schools.
Choctaw's
in
better, though.
This year they
We started the turf wars early. All right. So, favorite place to eat here on the Emerald Coast?
In my backyard. My husband's a wonderful chef.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
And he's
So-
only how
Yeah.
far away? Because I'm hungry after
Hey,
this.
we just talked.
Right
We
around the
just
corner.
Right
we
over
just
there.
talked to Tony. We keep 2 lists down here: the locals list, and then the tourist list.
The
We have
restaurant.
a
Get
sign
everybody-
that says Porterfield's Bar and Grill.
That's
in
great.
our backyard.
Nice.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Number 7. When did you place your faith in Jesus?
I always have, but it was 2013 that I really put it all,
Awesome.
gave it all to him.
All in.
Yes.
You said that was it. What was the precipice? By the way, you're off the hot seat.
Nice work.
You did a great
Okay.
job.
Nice work, nice
I
work,
told you it's
nice
very
work, nice
easy.
work.
Yeah.
I told you it's very easy. When did you? What was the precipice?
I had gone through a really bad divorce.
Okay.
And really had nowhere else to turn. So it was kind of that point where you were like, I didn't know where else to go. So I
Yeah.
went to him.
I had in fact, my son and I, in fact, this friend of ours, she had posted this whole fast. It comes from, there was an old preacher that, and I'm going to get it all wrong, but he said something to the event in his preaching that said that when you've done it all, you've prayed it all, you've done everything you can, and you can't do anything more. Sometimes you have to do like the sailors would, and you put your bow into the sea and you anchor down. You hold fast to the truth in Jesus. And you hold fast to the knowledge that He loves you and cares about you, and that's all you can do.
He's my first resort now, not my last.
Yes, I love it.
It
It's
takes
so
a while in
good.
life to learn that,
That's
though,
so
right?
good.
It did.
Why do we not do that? But
Because
it is our
you have
human
to-
nature
you
not
have to
to
get
do
to
it.
a place where you don't have anything else but him.
That's right.
And so
And
But
then
the first
you just
resort's so
dive in.
much easier.
That's
Such an
so
easier
good.
way to do it.
That's
is
so
hard.
good.
But you got to learn it.
he designed us that
Yeah,
way.
that's right.
Well, a great job again on the hot seat.
Yeah,
I think
very
she
good
crushed it. You did a great job. We
But
should
still,
add an
I gotta
applause
know
somewhere.
what restaurant that? What do you like?
He
What-
wants to
I wanna
know. He wants
yeah,
to
what's
know.
your
Like,
favorite,
give us
you
a
know?
My favorite
restaurant.
restaurant?
You know, that could be.
Gosh.
And where you go to the most, probably like Grimaldi's. You know, pizza.
I
you
like
gotta-
Cantina Laredo.
Cantina.
Cantina's a
Last
go-to
night.
for us,
Literally
too.
ate there last
Did
night.
you ate there last night? What is
Yeah,
they
it's
have
good.
that-
Consistently good.
They are good.
They are good.
They're good.
They have
Yeah,
a bunch of good
Cantina's
margaritas
good.
selection.
You don't have to
but-
give out anymore. We don't like to
Yeah.
give too many people all the great stuff.
Grand Boulevard's not in, unfortunately.
I like to
Everybody
hold
knows
it.
Grand
I've
Boulevard.
mentioned that before. I have 2 lists. I have the list for the tourists when they want it. And I usually throw some good stuff on there. But then I have my VIP list is where I don't want anybody to know where I'm going.
Grand Boulevard, I think,
Those are the
good
restaurants because
point.
it gets
Yeah,
too
it's-
crowded.
I'm with
then you
ya.
can't get in.
Yeah.
I can remember years ago, Danielle and I were working at Orange Beach, or not Orange Theory, before I realized I have no cartilage left in my knees and I can't run anymore. And I've got the doctors that are, telling me I have to wait until my mid-50s before I can get. And I'm like, I can't. My knees hurt. So he told me literally I can't run unless somebody's chasing me, and then I have to believe him. Then I have to believe him. And so
I have never seen you run, actually. now that you say
stop.
that, yeah.
But we used to work out all the time in Orange Beach, and this new trainer came in from like Pensacola, and there were, I guess you got to do what they call drop-ins. You can pay like $10, and you can come in and hang out at the Orange Beach, I keep saying
Theory,
Orange Beach,
yeah.
Orange Theory Fitness. And at any rate, we were working out there, and I enjoyed the workout. It's treadmill, then it's weights, and it's a good workout.
Did you lift tires?
No tires. That's CrossFit. That's more CrossFit.
did
I
that
did
back
that.
in the
I did
day,
that
yeah.
30s, but my 40s I was more
Cardio based.
Orange There's cardio based, but it's still weights. You're doing weights, but
you're not
more
bulking
body
up.
weight, and I'm not
Yeah.
doing crazy. Yeah, so health definitely for health. But we're afterwards stretching. And so we're stretching afterwards, and the new trainer says, "So we've got some people in. It's like spring break or summer, and who's not? She's just like who's local, who's not." And you have whatever 4 or 5 people that have come in from out of town that are crazy and working out on vacation, right?
Losers.
And so they're losers. Hey, no offense to those of you that work
losers,
out. So at any rate, she says that the trainer says, well, where do you guys recommend where you're going to go? And I'll never forget, Danielle was like, I'm not telling anybody. She said, if I tell you where to go, I'll tell you like boat champs and places that everybody knows, but I'm not telling you my secret
places.
spots because then you'll be there.
That's true.
It's so true. And now we have some really good ones. I mean, a lot of them. I mean, I'll give out the Bay a lot because I do love their sushi. The Bay is great, and people know it. I mean, if you're coming into town, like right there on the bridge, right when you come over the bridge,
miss it.
You can't miss it. It's always packed. So those places.
And the season, you gotta know what time of day to
that's
go.
Right.
You just like,
right.
you gotta go
and
at 4:30 or something.
That brunch at Kraken's. I mean, our boy Clayton,
doesn't matter.
But again, everybody knows about it. It's a great brunch. I'm not telling you. It's hard for me to get in. Yeah. So
and us locals go out to eat in the fall.
That's exactly right. You're right. Fall. This is a great time.
This is a great
to
time
be out to eat. Now in a week or so, it's gonna. Most my audience knows we're filming early. For January stuff, but. Yeah, this December, we're right now mid-December, and it's a great time to go out to eat. We went to McGuire's. I hadn't been to McGuire's in probably 9 years. We went there last night, and it was so good. I had a Reuben there, so good. And we walked right in. Right in. Yeah, they set us in a table, but it's that season right now.
You got a Reuben, not the prime rib?
So Reuben's really the prime rib that good. I've not had the prime rib.
Did you get the 5-cent bean?
No.
Oh, I get the bean.
I got their trash, something appetizer called trash, and it's like the stuff that's falls off the ribs or something, and it was so good. It's like the burnt edge of the ribs.
Trash?
They call it trash. It
sounds awesome.
Get trash at McGuire's. Thank me later.
Bean soup. It's like
it's
5 cents, something like that.
5 cents.
Really?
I don't think it's ever gone up with inflation.
Oh my gosh!
But you have to get an entree. If you order it besides itself, it's like
I don't think they'll let you.
$4 or $5.
You're telling me something I don't know.
Yeah.
You're telling me something.
I'm not a bean soup guy, but they make good beans.
Well, you have to get it for the price.
Yo. True North Pest Control. They are all over Central Florida, Georgia, and they just moved here to the Emerald Coast. I just switched my service over to them. You got to check them out. Tell them JB sent you. They'll take care of you. We are a bug-free podcast because of them. True North Pest Control. Now back to the show.
By the way, Julian, I should have given you this opportunity right after you got off the hot seat. We jumped into the restaurant thing, got thrown off with the faith in Jesus. But give us like a helicopter view of what's going on at Emerald Coast Children's Advocacy Center.
Wow.
What you're doing, what you're involved in. You can give me kind of that. We're going to dive deep into it, but I want to give you a chance to kind of promote what you've got going on at the ECCAC.
The biggest thing is our gala that's coming up in March.
March 8th and 9th.
March 8th and 9th. Okay. That is our signature event. And raises.
The jabronis are buying a table.
We're coming.
Yeah,
awesome.
Is this a tuxedo kind of thing?
It is.
You don't have to wear a tuxedo, but it's.
You want a button-up shirt and some slacks.
I want
a
reason to wear a bow tie. I want a reason.
You can wear a bow tie.
I want a reason.
You can wear a bow tie. So that's really there's golf on the 8th. Is it the 8th and 9th?
Yeah, so it's 8th and 9th. What
the 8th is the gala at the Hilton.
That's the Friday night?
It's Saturday night.
It's Saturday night, and then the Sunday is the golf on the
Kelly.
Next day. Okay.
Yeah, and that event's been going on before the center even opened or even got started. So that started in 1997.
So you've had a golf tournament start first.
It started in 1997 before I came on in 99. So we're 27 years into this golf tournament.
27 years into the golf tournament.
Yeah, and I worked at the state attorney's office for 17 years before I came to the center, and that's how I got to the center. So I got reined into helping.
You got reined into helping.
And you stayed.
What did you do at the state attorney's office?
I started out as a receptionist, and then I went to school at night full-time and worked full-time.
Oh, wow.
And I got my bachelor's and master's.
Wonderful.
Come on.
Congratulations.
And by the time
Young people, you can do it.
You can do it. And so by the time I got into administration, which I loved. I'm more visionary.
Organizing.
Yes, that's my thing.
Focusing.
And I was a victim advocate part of the time too, so it kind of prepared me to.
Okay.
And so when the center concept started, the state attorney said, "Julie, help them." Mm-hmm. So I started helping, and then it was like, "Okay, you're going to be the director? Sure."
Now you're there.
So 25 years later.
25 years later, that's awesome. You are, and you have. And I know they what an honor. I read that the building was named the Julie Porterfield Children's Advocacy Center.
Yeah.
That is quite an honor. The one in Niceville, that is quite an honor.
It is, but
It's just,
that's not why.
I know that's not why you did it.
No.
I know. Listen, your heart. If anybody's met you, they know that's not your heart. Is to have a building named after
Where's
you.
it? Where's it at Niceville?
It's 401 McEwen Drive.
Where's that?
It's off of Highway 20.
Okay.
Why are you asking? You don't know any place in Niceville?
I just did Reach Across America in Niceville yesterday.
Oh, you did do
yeah.
Reach
Oh,
Across
did you?
America.
My wife runs that organization in the
does
Niceville
she?
area. Yeah. Doing it 4 years. So she's from Niceville. You know, her whole family's up there. So I didn't know they had. That's where the location was.
Yeah, it's been there for that building
You
opened
have
in 2000.
few locations now.
We have Niceville opened in 2000, and then Definiak, the Pierce Family Center, opened in 2016.
Right.
And then we opened a new program in Fort Walton last year.
Okay.
So we've had a lot going on.
So 3 buildings.
Yeah.
We have 3 buildings.
Awesome.
That's a lot. And you
it's a
find
lot.
yourself going between the 3 buildings?
Yeah,
You go wherever you need
wherever,
right? Yeah.
wherever God takes me that
That's
day.
right. That's right. And so you kind of answered that, how you got involved with this was really through just...
I can tell you the reason why it all started.
Tell me.
So we had a really bad, for those of you who don't know, at the Children's Advocacy Center, it really started off helping children who were sexually abused. And the concept came out of Huntsville, Alabama. But we had a really bad case where a daycare's owner molested 5 little girls in the home.
Oh, my word.
And so, obviously, the court system wasn't designed for little people. And so, at the time, I was a victim advocate, and so I had to work with those little girls to prepare them to go into the courtroom.
Oh, sure.
And so, the gentleman was convicted, sentenced to life. If I remember correctly, his name was Joe Bell. And after that case, that's kind of where all the agencies got together and said there had to be a better way for children in the court system, because it's a scary place to even for adults.
It is
100%.
To go in there and test. And with child abuse cases, everyone has to be removed from the courtroom except the advocates, the attorneys, and the child sitting there with the offender.
So the offender's there, though?
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
So it's a scary place. So after that, they all just, Rick got around the table saying, what can we do differently? And Pat Franklin, who was one of the co-founders, heard of the concept of a children's advocacy center. And it's about putting everyone in one place for a child instead of that child having to go to multiple places.
So counseling?
Yes.
Yeah,
because what happened...
Sheriff might come in.
Yes. So what happened was when you take a child 3 different places to tell their story, typically what happened is they would recant. So you didn't have the opportunity to help the child. They didn't want to talk about it anymore. So
and why would they?
Yeah, so you lost the ability to help the child beyond the court piece of it, but then also we weren't holding offenders accountable.
Wow.
So the best practice at that time was to put
they just continue offending.
Yeah.
So it's not going to stop.
Nope.
Right.
Unless you get them off the street.
That's right.
So the concept was that the best practice at that time was to build a building, put all the agencies under one roof, and the child just has to come to one place for help.
Okay.
And it's a child-friendly place.
Sure.
Because you haven't been there yet.
No, I'm coming. I'm coming.
You've got choices.
Because the episode previous, Tony Carter here with True North Pest Control. You guys know we love True North Pest Control. We need to flood True North with new business because all new people that sign up during the month of January 2025 and February 2025, he is matching that revenue from new customers
That's so awesome.
to donate to Emerald Coast Children's Advocacy Center on our behalf. On what the hell do I know with JB's behalf?
That's awesome.
So we got to load that up. So I'm so excited about that. But I haven't been there, but we're going to come. I'm bringing Tony and myself. We'll all 3 come.
Danielle too.
We're going to come and visit the center because I want to see it.
So at the centers, we have prosecutors that are housed at the center. We have the interview rooms. We have the medical exam rooms. We have the therapists. We have the advocates. So when a child is telling their story, all these people are sitting in one room while the child's sitting in the room with an interviewer. So everybody can gather the same information at the same time.
Right.
Like you're not having to go back and ask that child.
That's right.
And so many times when you come out of that interview, law enforcement's ready to go talk to the alleged offender and or get ready for a case. But then our team has the ability to start helping that child and that family. Because you can put people away, but these kids still have to go on.
Well, then they've got
they move.
but their life has kind of been
it's
shambles,
horrible,
right?
yeah.
I mean, when they've had a trauma like that, and what people don't realize, especially when you're dealing with in like sexual trauma at a young age, you don't realize that the neurons in your brain get kind of like how you think about sex is positioned in such a negative way at an early age. It just shifts your entire worldview for the rest of your life if you don't get some help.
The interesting thing about you, especially young children, they don't know that it's wrong.
No.
What's happening to them.
Well, they don't know what's right or wrong. Yeah.
But it's not even just the physical. It's like there's a mental brain mapping that they found happens that then you begin associating. Your dopamine gets changed. Everything that gets changed. And you don't know it. Yeah. And we're starting to find it. And guys happen all the time. It's where sexual addiction like occurs. They can be traced back many times to something early on in their past.
And that's why the therapy at the center is so important.
Right.
I mean, you can put the bad people away, but our goal is to really restore those lost childhoods.
I mean, I tell you what.
And it's all done at no cost. So
and that's what's amazing.
Nothing we do, there's not a charge for anything we do.
That's what I love about that's why people like Tony and True North and the gala and doing all that. That's why I'm telling you folks, if you're watching this podcast, sign up True North Pest Control. You can say I don't have the money to donate, but you've got pest control, right? So sign up to True North and he's going to literally donate for you. He's going to match that sign up to them. So what a great
sounds like
way.
a large organization that
it's huge.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a big
That's only
organization.
one piece of it.
And what are the other things you're doing there?
So the other thing, the good thing is you're seeing a lot of prosecution, so they are putting, and then having all those agencies under one roof, we're like a family.
Okay.
So you can imagine, they don't have to do it this way.
Right.
It's something that the Sheriff Aiden and Sheriff Atkinson and the State Attorney Ginger Madden, they have all
decided this is how we're going to advocate for kids. And this has been 20 and they're working together.
Yeah.
And so they're investigating together. They're taking care of it. Also making sure they're protecting the victims well.
Yeah.
And in the center of it, and that's why I said that word advocacy and advocate. That might be the thing that sticks out because you guys, with all of those people, while it's nice that it's all in one center, the reason why is because you're advocating for the child.
Right. And so if
you're there,
that family just has to come to our advocate instead of having to call the state attorney's office or get the sheriff's office. It's all. And so even with the children, if they're going to do depositions, if it's going to go to trial, the kids do the depots at the center too. So you're bringing that child back to the same place every single time. And you'll see when you come that it's child friendly. It's fun there.
That's great.
So
I love it. I'm going to see it. I can't wait to see it. Yeah. Juice, there is a scripture. Look up. See if you can look up. There's a scripture. There's you've got the advocate that goes before you, talking about Jesus.
I love that.
And it sticks out for me when I think about the Advocacy Center. Because you should be able to Google something that's like the advocate that goes before you. Because we're told in ancient scripture, what is that? What's the scripture? Juice, did you find it?
I'm looking.
Did you type advocate that goes before you Bible verse?
That's beautiful.
Because there is, and he'll find it. It takes a second for him. He's not the fastest in Google, so
he's pretty fast moving.
What is that Bible verse, Because there's my little children. I'm writing these. John says, so we have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ. So it's 1 John 2, and John writes, but he talks about I'm writing to you so that you may not sin, but if anyone does sin, because we are, it's he wants you to not sin, but if anyone does sin. In fact, the translation is probably, if you went back further, it says, I will ask the Father, and he'll give you another helper or another advocate that'll be with you forever. John talks about a lot. My little children, I'm writing these things to you so you may not sin. If anyone does sin, we have an advocate. And what I love about it is we have an advocate. So on my behalf, I think there's another scripture.
Somebody will speak on your behalf.
And there's another one, while we were still sinners, yet Jesus died for our sins. And so we talk about that, but we have an advocate. Because things are, when the basis of our faith is that things aren't right. That I'm a sinner and I have this sin on me. I've seen somebody do this at an old church I had, and he did it with a billfold. But it was like, I have sin on me. This is my sin, and this is me, and I have sin on me. And because of that, God is righteous, and he can't see sin, God. Mm-hmm. But if this is Jesus, so if this right hand is Jesus, Jesus came, and he said, I'm going to be advocate for you. And I take that away so that then you can be made whole and be seen by God. And so we have this advocate of someone that does that for us. And that's what I love about what you're dealing in. You're the advocate for those kids.
And I will tell you, when I first started, one of the first days we were open, I was there at night, and we're open 24/7. Like, there's always a team on call.
Right.
And so, I had a child come into the office, probably 6 or 7. And of course, my office used to be out front, and they told me what had happened, and you don't react, you just listen. And I was just heartbroken because my son at that time was 2.
Oh, wow. And
then, but the child came back into my office after the interview, and they said, you can tell people in this building care about kids. Oh, wow. So I had to kind of, reconcile myself. Why does God let this stuff happen? But then I realized he created the center. Because again, there's sin. So it was a tough one, because I'm not sure. That night I went home and I'm like, I don't know if I can go back there.
That's
I don't know if
hard.
I can do this anymore.
It's got to be very
fairness. So one thing I like to say is fairness went out the window with Adam and Eve. On this side of heaven, we won't ever understand why.
Yeah.
In fact, you posted something the other day, said, I will never fathom, and I saw this, it was on your post, so it said, I will never fathom how someone can hurt a child, but I can fathom it doesn't have to be the end of their story. With our work, I see a community uniting to bring hope so our children can dream and be all they can possibly be, boundless dreams. I mean, where does that hope come from? Because we're talking about this, you said it day in, day out. You have these stories, they're hitting you, and you're going home and going like, I don't know if I can hear one more story.
I think I learned, I pray a lot, obviously.
Sure,
my life is formed around prayer, but I think I learned we go to, no, we don't save them all, and that's the one you pray for, but that you go to work thinking that you can. Because truly, I statistically should still not be there,
With everything you've seen?
Yeah, for 25 years, you take that about...
What's the lifespan of a typical person doing this work?
For a not-for-profit, about 4 years.
4 years. Wow. Is that across all non-for-profits?
Yeah.
So that's not a generalization. If you're working non-for-profit, you got 4 years. Do they go to the for-profit world? Or CEO world, maybe? So maybe going to the book, because it is tough, right?
It is tough.
I mean, you're not only you executing on whatever the mission of that nonprofit is, but you're also raising money. You're having to do all these other things. There's so many.
It's only God possible.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah, He provides. Wow. Sometimes I wonder, but His timing isn't always mine.
No,
that's right.
Yeah,
no,
but it does work out.
Okay. Great patience.
It does work out.
Oh, I had
to have
great patience. Yeah. Wow, I mean that's because
to deal with something like that where you're not making money, basically it's
I mean, when I will tell, so reality. When I started the center, there were 3 of us, and our budget was $180,000, one location. Today, there's 3 locations, 30-some people, and our budget's almost $4 million.
Wonderful!
Wow, wow.
So if that doesn't scare you.
But when you think budget $4 million, though, that means every year, because there's no profit in running this business.
No.
Every year, this community has to show up with $4 million.
Yes, sir.
Or more.
Or more. It's more now.
And so far, they're meeting that need. Yes. Hopefully.
Hopefully the county's...
we bring it, like I said, True North Pest Control. We're throwing it out there.
We've been blessed by a lot of people. A lot of people that invested in.
Some people that give annually, give yearly, give monthly, however their gift comes.
But it takes, like I said in that post, it takes a community. It's not just.
That's why this gala, March 8th, this podcast will go out the end of January, so it'll be perfect timing. But if you're watching this,
just go to the
March
website.
8th, go to the website, ECCAC.org. You'll go there. First thing that pops up, you can get a table, you can sponsor, whatever it is. But the March 8th gala, it is a great time.
It's fun.
It really is. It's one of the times we get it's something I look forward to every year. And I didn't even know about it until a few years ago. I mean, the first time I actually met you was at Norm's house. He was building a house for me. And said, "Hey, I'm doing a dinner over at my house," and I showed up at his house, and I thought, "Great, we'll come to dinner." and have some drinks and a nice meal. And next thing you know, waterworks are coming because they're showing a video
that was
of stuff.
That was the reveal of our mission video.
Yes.
So people need to watch that on our website
Oh
too.
my
if
gosh, you do. Well, you know what? We'll cut a break in and we'll throw that video up. So I'll go on. I'll get my editor to throw that mission video up, and can we play that video? We could play that video
Probably,
now.
yeah. I was going to ask about because I'm looking at it.
It's 16 minutes.
We won't play it now. So we'll put a link for it.
I'm going to need some tissue. I'm pretty sure
You will need.
I get a little emotional.
Yes,
oh my gosh! I think I got up and I was like, whatever role I need to feel. This is what you need.
Yeah, it's like whatever you're upset about it right now, whatever your kids make.
I'm just like, where do I write the check? Right then, I'm getting involved. I'm getting involved right now.
Well, you probably came out there with a little less money in your bank, didn't you?
Hey, it was all worth it. Hey, I've been blessed, and you got to bless. To be blessed, you got to bless others and do more. And one thing I'm very comfortable with is saying no to charities. I can go up to I go to Home Depot.
Man.
It's like, do you want to round up? Nope.
I did $5 yesterday at PetSmart.
And the reason why I don't do it is because I want to be intentional about the money I give.
Yeah.
And I want to give to, it's not like I don't need to, I could round up every quarter or whatever, but I want to be intentional. And I know what they do. I have some other charities that I work with, and so I can say no to certain charities, and it's not because I don't think you're great and doing all that, but for me, this is what me and my family have decided to be invested in. And you guys are one of
unfortunately, a lot of the charities nowadays, the big ones,
just
the percentage is not, they're not good.
Well, and that's the other thing. What are they using the dollars for? How are they using the dollars for?
A lot of it doesn't go.
I mean, if you went down, so one that we do also, and I really like, is one called Charity Water. And they create new wells for drinking water because all over the world, one of the hardest things isn't hunger; it's water.
80%.
If you solve water, you can solve so many. And
80% of people in hospitals in this world
is like dysentery and water and all these things. So drilling a well can create some incredible water in third world countries, and we don't ever think about that. And that's all they do. But when I give them every dollar, I can allocate my dollars to only a well. Or I can say 80% of it to the well and 20%, because they got to pay administrative costs, right?
Yeah.
But you can see every single dollar is accountable and transparent to them.
That's important.
And it's something that to me is important. It's something that I know you guys use you eke every dollar you get, you eke it to your max. And that's something that I love about
we
what
do.
y'all
I mean, we really
I know you
say.
do. I know you do. And so I like being involved with what you're doing. I think it's such great work. And while I enjoy Charity Water and what they do, because I think it's good globally to give, I really like to give though where I'm planted. And
that's
right
why I want to raise this, because March 8th is the gala night at the Hilton Sandestin, and they are doing live auctions. So if there's any local business or anything that could maybe donate to this live auction, right? And they can businesses they can donate some.
Well, they've got the live auction. They have some incredible stuff. I mean, there's trips.
It's amazing.
There's trips. There's all kind. In fact, I think we went to Rome. We did last summer. I talked about it on the podcast. We started on a cruise, and then
Greece one, right?
We were Florence, and then we went through Greece and Florence, and then we ended a week in Rome. But that week in Rome was at this villa that was like Valentino's villa in Rome, and it was this amazing villa. But I bought that
at the gala.
At the auction, so I bought that trip. And you guys got some charity for it, and a part of it, I think.
Yeah.
I think the next time, I mean, while I like the auctions, I think sometimes, man, it's just better to just
give.
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it, but I think sometimes I do think some people feel that want to get those auctions and win, and there's some great trips.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's almost better for me just to. Because I know then you get 100% of it. There's no split, but
we're happy and we're grateful.
Either way, right?
We are grateful for every gift for our kids.
For sure, 100%. But yeah, you got to check it out because I know they can get a hold of you. The ECCAC, ECCAC.org. I call it the ECCAC. Does everybody else say the ECCAC?
No, but it's okay.
I don't know why. I've like shortened it. I shortened it. The Emerald Coast Children's Advocacy
I like
Center.
being able to remember.
It's a mouthful, right?
Emerald Coast Children's Advocacy Center.
Yeah. So the ECCAC.org, and I know they get there. We've got the gala coming up in March. We're getting a table this year. Yay. I know Tony's coming with me as well, so we're bringing Tony in and introducing to it. Man, if you ever need an MC, I'm sure us jabronis can MC that thing too.
Is the table an 8-top table? How big are we
They're
talking?
10 tops.
I think they're 10 tops. It's a 10-top table. That's what I'm
family
saying.
tables.
So we'll set it out. I'm going to get Tony to come with us. I'm going to try to get Mike here too.
Can you bring babies?
At floors.com be in our studio. No babies. No babies.
I can't bring my 1-year-old.
Sans babies. I'm calling it 4 babies.
All right, so we're going
you wouldn't want to do
but
that.
that's fine.
It's a great time though. They have a great setup there. It's one of the. It
has to be.
When you think about fancy parties, it's fun time to get dressed up. You know,
it is a fun time.
There's tux. You could come in a tux. I might come in a tux this time. I might come in a tux. Norm shows up in a t-shirt and a jacket. He's always different. Yeah, I've seen tuxes there, suit jackets. You could get away with the. I mean, you don't. I imagine you could be okay in like just a dress shirt and a jacket too, slacks. You know.
Oh, it's fine.
You don't want to come in jeans and just a t-shirt. I think that you might feel out of place. Everybody there would accept
and
you.
this isn't Seagars cooking the food, is it?
No, it's the Hilton.
It's the Hilton.
Okay, so it's the Hilton banquet.
But we did meet with the chef, and he's coming up with some really great stuff for this
Fleetwood?
year.
No, he's probably the banquet
Hilton
chef.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So,
because we had Fleetwood on to Seagars.
We did have Fleetwood on an episode at Seagars.
We could maybe get him to do something.
Yeah, and the other thing is at the gala, it is a chance to bring awareness to the center. So it's good to bring new people in who don't know about us. Because typically we have somebody last year, the mom spoke, whose child went through the center.
That's right.
And then I'm pretty hopeful, a young girl that I met when she was 6 at the center, she's in her 20s now and a senior in college, it may come speak.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. She spoke at one of the galas when she was like 10. She really wanted to do it, typically wouldn't do it.
She went through the program.
She went through the program.
Had some trauma.
Yeah.
You guys stayed with her and walked with her through that.
Yeah, I've known her. Yeah, her and I kept a relationship.
She's now out of college?
She's a senior in college.
Senior in college now. That's amazing.
Yeah. So,
that's the kind of thing that I love working with you.
You see the impact.
Yep.
And again, I'm not going to say we save them all because we don't, but we certainly try. And then you see these kids, and I've been there long enough to watch a lot of kids go through life. Mm-hmm. So
it's going to be difficult to talk about it too,
Yeah.
Difficult.
But the good news is, and we share good news about our program. We always did the intervention piece.
Yep.
They're after the fact. So in 2016, 17, someone comes and said, hey, what can we do to start, number one, empowering children to protect themselves?
Right.
And then secondly, we only see reported cases of abuse. That means somebody had to call law enforcement or the hotline. And we know statistically there's 2/3 more kids out there that we're not reaching.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
So we applied for an Impact 100 grant, seed money to start a program. And there's a curriculum called, through the Monique Burr Foundation, it's called Child Safety Matters.
Okay.
And so we decided where can we find the most kids? In one place, it's the school systems. So in 2017, we started doing prevention in the schools.
What a great...
And convocations kind of thing? Like speaking at
in the classroom.
In the class, gotcha.
And between Oakland and Walton, we have a contract with them, not monetarily, but that we are part of their system.
Right.
But we do K through 5 in Oakland and Walton.
Okay.
And last year we educated over 20,000 kids.
Wow. Awesome. And so what does that look like? I mean, you
teach them
what good
safety
touch, no
rules.
touch.
Yeah, it's all age appropriate, their language. But you teach them how to see the red flags. Mm-hmm. And one of the main things you teach them that it's okay to tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even
when
the
an
first
adult
thing
says
offender,
don't say anything, that's a red flag,
you teach them to have a safe adult, and it's typically not your parents, because a lot of kids would tell me I didn't tell my parents because I didn't want them to be sad.
But that's who you tell.
Yeah, so the safe adult, whoever that might be in their life, and or a safe friend.
Safe adult or safe
friend. And so you're empowering them, like you give them the power to say it's okay to tell somebody. But the beauty of that program is we're educating these kids, so they're seeing it K through 5th grade. We're in the classrooms. But the beauty is we're getting disclosures, children who were being abused that didn't. And so had it not been for the education in the schools,
you might not have heard.
They would still be in that situation.
Wow.
So what's happening during the interviews at the centers, they say, we told because the safety ladies came to our class.
And so I wanted to tell you what's
So you think about the long-term impact of that education. Education's key, no matter what we do.
Yeah.
So prevention, so we expanded that. So now we have 4 people on our safety team.
there was a lady, and I don't know if this was her story. I don't know if this was a story she heard. It's just like a colloquial or whatever they call it. But she runs and still continues to run something called the Potter's House right outside of Atlanta, and she brings in ladies that have gone through really addiction recovery sort of thing, and she helps them. Obviously, they have to have a hold and get out of the drugs and alcohol, whatever they're in, and then they work through a program to be sober and clean. But she, and it's a 12-step program based on biblical values, and she walks through that, and they have Bible studies and all these things through it. And so it's really kind of amazing. But she has a condo here in Destin, and so she brings people that have made it through certain parts of the program. She brings them down to Destin to. We'll have to have her on or something. Yeah. It'll be great. But she brings them down, and they were kind of walking the beach, and this story she tells about how they kept throwing starfish back. Do you know the story?
Yes, I do.
So I don't think it's them. Maybe she tells the story or something where it's like you and it's like, well, you can't. That's dead or this is dead. And she's like, you can't throw all these starfish. There's so many starfish on the beach that wash up, and you can't throw them all back in. It's like, but I saved that one.
That's right.
It matters to that one. That's right.
And so sometimes you're right. You can't save them all, but you can save that one. And by having this education, that's one less kid that we can try to get help to before they're, there's a very, very public failure of a pastor in Hillsong Church, Hillsong, New York. I don't know if you know the Carl Lentz story, and he's got a podcast out now that's called Lights On. It's now probably one of the top 20 podcasts out there. But he talks about, but his story was he was mega church pastor in New York, but he had an affair on his wife. Goes back and it ruins like his stuff. Hillsong actually starts spiraling from that because it opens up not just him, but problems they had through their leadership in the church. And I'm sure Hillsong will be fine and ultimately just needed to probably be purged a little bit, right? But he goes out and gets help, and now fast forward 4 years later, his wife and him stay together somehow through grace. Beautiful. But he goes and gets like monster amount of help, but he realizes that he was sexually abused when he was younger. It did change his brain system. He had this pornography thing that he didn't talk about, nobody talks about. It's prevalent in the world, and then this came around to really then rupture. And he talks about, like, if I could have gone back to my 5-year-old self and told them, like, how could I have saved myself? Because they said, well, what would you have done differently? He said, I would have gone back to my 5-year-old self and figured out, like, how do I tell somebody? How do I get help then to avoid all the pain that I'm now, in my 40s going through?
There's a lot of ills, related with child sexual abuse, with, alcoholism, human trafficking. There's just 100%. So much. So if we can get these children...
What's crazy is most guys that I know that went through like AA or anything like that. I mean, they also could go to SA. It's like these addictions, like cross addictions.
I know.
It's and they all come back from something that's spurred in the childhood. Yeah. And then if you don't get it corrected, then it's like you're just driving this broken car and you're just hitting people and giving collateral damage as you go through life. And he talks about this on his Lights On podcast.
That's why, if you looked at all the programs at the center, I love every single one of them, but the therapy is really about restoring.
Yes. But it takes work.
It takes a lot of work for those
so
kids.
Much work. It's work for them.
But the cool thing about the center, I think at the gala, we auction off celebratory gala auction where somebody is sponsoring all the graduations of these kids.
Oh, wow.
And so they celebrate these kids when they graduate. It's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
So, and they can always come back to the center until they're 18 if something else comes up. So, and again, it's all at no. Because the last thing we want to do, and I think everybody would agree, is you don't want to have to charge people because something bad happened to their kid.
I agree.
And so it's because of the generosity of so many.
Dealing with the parents, though, like I'm sure they're upset when they find out about this stuff.
I've had so many parents come into my office, and they were just horrified that they didn't know, and they're not going to know.
Yeah,
these children are groomed by people. They're told not to tell, and many times children, 95% of the time, are molested by somebody that they know. It's not a stranger. We hear about stranger danger, and that's fine.
It's like a grandfather,
but it's not.
Or something.
Like the mom that
spoke was like a great.
Both of her daughters were molested by their grandfather.
That's crazy when you think about it. Absolutely insane.
But they loved him. I remember that case. I remember when they came in there, and it just, yeah. But, I know it sounds really bad, what we do. I mean, why we have to be there.
What happened was very bad, and why you have to be there.
So, but again, there's that hope. Yeah. And I think for me, it only comes from God. Yeah. Because honestly...
No, for us, I mean, we try to not be like a faith podcast, and my audience knows that.
We're not a faith.
I'm a Christian, and I know you're not a faith, but I am a Christian. I believe in Jesus, and that is where my hope comes.
Well, that's why. So people, and at work, people tell you, "I'll pray." Yeah. But again, if someone says something about it, it's between me and God. So
that's right.
If you want to,
I want to leave room for everyone's unbelief, but I want to also be there when you start doubting your unbelief.
Well, people around me. I mean, I have great faith, and I do think that God, I have a connection with Him. And things happen, and I give Him the glory because it's only because of Him. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and even when we had our flood and fire in Niceville, we had a flood and fire for our 13,000 square foot building, and we had to move out. And, the way I looked at it, the building was 20 years old. It needed to be renovated. So God just helped it along. Insurance paid for half. It was at $1.2 million. He paid, God paid for about $700,000 of it. We paid for the rest. But it was like, I cried when I saw it. Yeah. But then it was like, but He provided. I could tell you stories about ways. There was no hiccups. Right. It was just a beautiful story.
Was there a hurricane or something? Or
no, there was a fire in one of the bathrooms. The sprinkler came off, and it did not go off.
Oh God! Oh, no. So the whole building.
Where there was water.
That was a few years ago.
A couple years ago. And Randy Wise and his group and Luke, who originally built the building, they came back to renovate, and Luke did it in a year, and that was unheard of. So
what square feet was it?
13,000.
Wow. 13,000 square feet in a year.
And then
renovation is sometimes harder than
it is harder than you
wait
till you see it.
It is harder.
And then after that, we were going to do an addition before we did the rental because we had no space. But when we got back in the building, we went ahead and added 2,700 square feet. Mm-hmm. So,
man, amazing what you all are doing.
Did Randy Wise take care of you?
Yeah.
He's a good looking businessman, huh?
And then for the Pierce Family Center, the Pierces gave the lead gift because Jim had a horrible childhood, and he gave back to make lives better for kids. But Terry Jones with Compass Builders, they donated their management fee, and his wife did the interior design for the Pierce Family Center.
That's amazing.
So, God just drops people into your lives.
That's right.
And you didn't invite them in. You didn't ask them to do it. Even with Jim, he offered the gift. I didn't ask for his gift.
Right. Yeah, of course. Right. Yeah. Well, that's how it works sometimes is you find, that is how God works. Say mysterious ways, on His timing, and people come into your life, and sometimes out of your life. They're there for a season, they're there for long term, but you find these partners through just mysterious ways.
Yeah.
How did this happen? Where did this connection happen? And just when you needed it.
People will tell Luke and I, there's no way you can do this in a year. And I said, well, watch.
Watch it. Watch what God did. Watch what He does, right?
Watch.
That's right.
Just watch me.
Hey, y'all. New customer of True North Pest Control here on the Emerald Coast, Central Florida, Georgia. You got to check them out.
Yeah, they get rid of all the unwanted pests in your house, including termites and mosquitoes. Tell them the Jabroni sent you. Back to the show.
No, in break just now, you were talking about, Julie, some really interesting stuff. And part of it, one thing that I thought you were saying while we had our little stand up and walkabout break, you were saying how it's sometimes, though, to continue to do the work, you have to find the people. And you don't know where they come from. And maybe it's doing this podcast. So, again, if you're listening to this podcast right now, if God's laying it on your heart, that you realize that how can you fathom the things that we've been talking about could happen to children? It happens. And you were saying that, too, that people didn't realize, I'll give to you, but I don't know what's happening here. And it's happening. It's happening everywhere. And why this happens... Why these things happen, like I said, we'll never know on this side of heaven.
No.
We know we live in a broken world. We know fairness went out the window with Adam and Eve. Why do the really bad things happen? I don't know. But we still can somehow fill that gap. Maybe Absolutely. It's our time, our talent, or our tithes, right? Our money. And we can fill that gap to say, how do we make it a better place for those children?
Yeah,
we can't do anything about the past, but we can do something about the future.
For the last 25 years, we've been, like I said, we've grown from one place to three, and even beyond. With the centers were originally set up to manage child sexual abuse cases and, the more egregious cases, severe physical, baby deaths, all that. But in 2000, 3 years ago, Jim Pierce said, I want to help more kids. And we're like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
But what it meant was expanding our reach to children in neglectful situations.
Okay.
And those are situations that a lot of times it's not even the parents' fault. They don't have the resources to do what they need to do. So we opened the Care Center in Fort Walton. That is and we actually received a state contract. It was a God thing. We had this CARES thing we wanted to do, and they said, can you do this for us to work with the state?
Right.
And it's about helping families to keep them out of the system.
Right, because there was something that maybe you said it or someone else in your the center had shared with me that there sometimes, like if a single mom can't keep like a light bill on or have certain essentials, that can cause kids to fall.
That was probably Solange. It can cause them to go into care. And so we can, through that program, we actually have people that go in. It's called in-home services and wraparound, where they actually go into the homes and work with the family for a year. And they graduate just like the therapy kids graduate, and they either get in the system or don't have to get in it at all.
Yeah.
And so it's beautiful. I've gone to the CARES graduations and to see their kids so proud of their parent. And it's usually as single moms. I've seen a lot of single moms.
Yeah, this is how
that's how he grew up.
So this is great that you're doing this. Whenever you told me this, I was like, that's awesome.
It's a totally new program. I'm just going, okay.
You don't know exactly how it's going to work out.
I am not
right?
equipped to do this work. I'm not to do this huge, I have vision, but sometimes you're like, well, how we saw, Solange says, as many kids as we saw between all of our programs is like 25,000 kids in a year. You can put all those kids in 3 football stadiums or 36 school buses. Wow. That's how many kids. So I was going to do the math before I came. Well, what's, 25,000 into $4 million? How much is that per kid? It's not that expensive, right?
No.
It's 410.
Your math's not that good. 40, don't you have a calculator over there on that?
About 160, $160.
$160?
160.
Did you do that math without a college degree?
I have to find.
I feel like you've got a calculator.
Yeah.
What's 4 million? 4 million.
We divided by 25,000.
25,000 kids.
Yeah. So think about it. That's not much money.
No, 160. That is not much money. And that's what I mean. I know
what
you do with your dollar. What it does with the dollar. What is it?
He's right.
160.
Yeah.
That's Common Core for you right there.
There you go.
That's Common Core for you right there.
I went to college. I just didn't graduate.
So
yeah,
think
$160.
about that. Think about that.
Think about that. Well, what does that mean to you? Like, can you find $160? And if you're a person that's trying to figure out, like, what could I donate to? If you broke that, what would it cost for you to say $40? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna do $40 a week. Mm-hmm. That'd be $160 a month. Mm-hmm. So you could do how could I get around just
that's
the $40
a year?
Yeah, 12 kids a year.
That's a year, right?
That's a year. Yeah. 160
a year
for the year. But I mean, if you were to say
50 cents a day,
so 50 cents. Well, then we're even talking about like how could I do that? So you can help, and I think. Yeah. Listen, if you're watching this podcast, I know if you're watching this podcast, and especially if you're a young person, we have a number. Our audience is probably like 16 to 44 is like 88% of our audience.
Nice.
And so if you're a young person, and even if you're in the 40s, I mean, and you're trying to figure out like what is maybe we're entertainment, and you get a bunch of laughs out of watching us, and we appreciate that. And I know that you like this human element, and we want to bring you this season some of what I consider our heroes, and Julie, you're one of them, and your group over there at Emerald Coast Children's Advocacy Center, those people there are heroes to our community, and we want to thank you for that. And I want to bring that human element to our audience, because I think if you're a leader or you're striving to be a leader, you're going to be a giver. And it's the only way. Leaders are givers.
Yeah.
And they give hard in their workplace, they give in their employment, but when they are blessed, they give, because they know what it took to get there. So if you're watching this, you need to put that on your back burner. But even if you're a 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old kid, 23-year-old kid, and you're like, I don't have money to give. Well, I get it. Like, 10% of zero is zero. So I get it if you're struggling. However, when you're on the way up, don't think that I can't budget out 50 cents a day, or I can't say I'm going to give $10 to something and I'm going to save that and I'm just going to do a one-time check, and my one-time check is going to be $500 to the Emerald Coast Children's Advocacy Center or the Harlan Foundation or whatever it is in your community that you want to give back to. You need to have a plan of action to giving. Well, not just
your time. Time is valuable.
Well, time is valuable
as money.
Yes.
We always need volunteers.
That's right.
We always need volunteers.
What would something that somebody could come and volunteer?
We have.
Good question.
Yeah, it's a great question. For our events, we're part of the Destin Charity Wine Auction, who's been very gracious to us. Yeah. So thank you to them.
Becker's donated a lot to that.
Yes.
I got rooked into both last year.
Yeah, and then the Emerald Lagasse Foundation event, volunteers for that. We need volunteers for our golf and gala. We're also recipients of the South Walton Celebrity Golf Tournament.
Okay.
And we have to provide a lot of volunteers for that. And so people can just sign up and...
What is South Walton Celebrity
That's
Golf
the one
Tournament?
you asked Feetner if he was doing, and he said no. Yeah. It's in Sandestin, right? Or,
yeah, it's in Sandestin. Yeah, it's a big deal.
Is it a Chi-Chi thing?
No, that's separate.
It's separate. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Hey, you can be celebrities.
Charlie,
that'd be a great one to volunteer
there is tons
for.
of celebrities out there. Yeah.
Well, we need to get him on the podcast.
Yeah,
I can get Charlie on that part.
Let's do
He's
it.
the one. He played for the New York Mets.
Oh,
he's
we
the one.
need to do
but he
that. That'd be
put
great.
it all together to get all the celebrities
Well, we
here.
should do that and then promote the golf tournament and promote the ECCAC again. That would be great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So volunteers, definitely need volunteers.
All right.
So.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to figure. I got some time, so I need to figure out more time to volunteer.
Yeah.
I'm going to come.
Do you have a truck?
No, I don't have a truck.
Do you have any of you guys have a truck? I don't. Sometimes we need stuff.
Move.
Well, like we had our kids' Christmas party the other night. It would have been great to have just everybody puts it in their cars. It would be nice just to have like a trailer for it.
Oh, that would be good.
I could arrange
Christmas
that.
parties are the best part.
Christmas
we know
those
those
kids. You'll never see as many of our kids in one place as those parties.
And somehow hope still boils up.
Yeah.
Even within those children.
Oh, you should see. And then you see these parents who are just so grateful, or caretakers of the center. And, we're there to help them. And there was a grandmother working in the kitchen in Defuniak during the party. And we're like, you don't need to be doing this. You're our guest. She said, no, you've helped my grandkids so much. And you're just like, we couldn't get her out of the kitchen.
That's so good.
So,
So you could find a ways. There's so many ways. They could probably come paint, fix doors, fix things there, whatever. You could come in with some light maintenance tools and say, what could you do? Whatever you, if somebody showed up and said, I'm here to help, you could, that day, then, you could get them something to do. You could find something to do.
Yeah.
Which, and kids out there, there are kids in high school right now that to graduate under the Bright Futures, they've got to volunteer. You ought to be checking in on how, this is a great spot to be able to volunteer.
Well, we do for those kids, because kids under 18 can't work at the center because they may see somebody they know.
That makes sense.
So,
good call. Yeah.
But they can do a lot of that age, do drives for the center. We always need diapers and wipes.
Maybe they can help at the gala or something.
Yeah, they can do
something like that, off-site stuff. Yeah, there's so many things like that I don't know.
Because everything we do is in confidential.
Yeah.
So if you can't hold a child under 18 to the confidentiality laws. So we don't want to ever put a child in that situation or that other child who's at the center.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah. I hate to move off of some of this stuff, but this is our section for the Delve cards. Okay. This is our section for the Delve cards. And again, I say this every time. I'm going to keep hounding it because you need to check it out, DELVE, delvecards.com. You can go to Boardwalk Games. They have it there. I tell everybody that my kids, when they were coming up as teens, they'd get around the kitchen table and, how was your day? Well, it was okay. Oh, no. And so these Delve cards are conversation starters that we would ask around. You pull a card and you would ask a question and we'd all start answering and have these great conversations.
Juice, oh Juice, where are you? We're waiting patiently for what you do. Google Guru, he'll make it right. In a flash, he'll solve the fight. Oh man, he's good at poker, that's right.
And so we're going to play the game right now. Juice is going to pull a card at random. You have the card ready?
I pulled one at random and stuck it in front.
Okay.
Yeah, like 10 minutes ago.
Here we go. 10 minutes ago. So Juice has a card ready. We're going to play with the Dell cards right now. This question goes around everywhere. Are you ready?
Yep.
Here we go.
What does everyone but you seem to love?
What does everyone but you?
Swift,
man,
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
That's my answer.
I'm going to ditto that.
Yeah. You out on Taylor Swift?
I mean, I just don't get it. So
we did a quote of the day. All last year we did a quote
nothing
of the day.
Against her, I just don't.
I mean, female artist, the first billionaire artist, female artist, first artist, not female or male. Straight off of her music rights alone, worth $1 billion.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great what she's done.
Yeah,
I just
younger career, all about it.
That's crazy. Yeah,
but go ahead.
Well, she's country.
So don't hold that against me.
No, nobody. Well, Juice is over there. He's anti-Taylor.
Well, I'm not anti-Taylor.
My kids love. My daughters love Taylor. My son, he went to Taylor's concert.
His son bought tickets for like $7,500 or something.
No, he was part of the. He jumped on early and got him face value. I tried to get him to sell his ticket for like. Couple grand, $2-3 but he would let it go. So,
and she's been very blessed. So
she certainly has.
Everyone but you seem.
So
to
say
love.
The question again.
What does everyone but you seem to love? So what does everybody love that you do not like?
I just don't get it.
Yeah, and I love Jason's cat.
Oh yeah,
it's the one cat maybe in my whole life that I'm not allergic to, but all the other trillion of them I am, and I can walk into a house and I can start feeling it like in my throat. And I want to love on that cat, but I can't.
I mean, gosh, I could. I mean, so this is super unpopular opinion, but I like most of all the other kids that are the neighborhood kids and stuff, but I don't. It's unpopular. Like, I really like my kids, but I don't necessarily like
their friends.
Kids.
I don't like other kids, but I like mine.
It's so bad. I love other kids, like I do, but I
wait till I tell my two girls how much you love them now.
I know. I love your girls. But not like
as
mine.
much as his.
But not like mine. Not like mine.
I get that.
It's a thing because I know some people that will be like, and Crystal does it too because she's like, I love your kids like they're mine.
She actually does.
I know, but I'm not built that way.
No,
it's
but
like
she
I
is built that way.
genuinely love my kids more than any other kid.
I got another answer too because Taylor Swift's too obvious for the listeners out there for me. And this is going to upset your daughter, but the stupid ducks in a Jeep windshield. I've owned a Jeep 15 years.
The duck thing's a real thing.
And the ducks in the windshield either. My daughter has a Jeep. The ducks
in
the Jeep on the.
I have no idea.
I'm telling you,
I've heard theories. I've heard theories on it.
I have driven 2 restaurants in that Jeep, and that we have
get in the way.
It's right on
the hazard.
It's right on the door when you unlock your door. There's a duck.
Put it on the dashboard.
On the dashboard of Jeeps,
and there's little rubber ducks.
Look at Jeeps driving by.
I will notice it now. You'll be like, why?
Everybody's got ducks. And people hand out ducks, and it's just like a gift.
That's probably better than mine.
My wife said she saw one the other day that was halfway up the windshield of ducks.
Ducks in a row. Maybe they just want their ducks in a row.
That's right.
That's good. That's a good one. That's a mom joke.
But you guys wave at other Jeep people. They have a wave.
They do. They have a wave. And then
I do that.
You take a duck from your car and you put it, like if you want to get. So my daughter has a Jeep. She has all these ducks on it. She has ducks in her glove box. When she sees another Jeep at like a Publix, she would take that out and put it on their hood or whatever on their fender. So it's called ducking someone else, I think is what it's called. Yeah, I don't know. It's
only Jeeps.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's only Jeeps.
It's a crazy thing.
I remember like 5 years ago, the first one I was at Bass Pro Shop, come out and get my Jeep. My Jeep doors don't lock. I got the top off or whatever, and there's a duck in my seat. And I'm like, what is this?
Yeah. You should have said, man, that's awful sweet. Somebody thought of me today and gave me a duck. See, it's sweet. Super sweet.
You're spinning it.
I think they left it
Good job.
Yeah. But that's another one.
I would agree with that. That's a good one. Those are good. Those are all good. Julie, do you have anything that?
Well, she said
Taylor.
Oh, Taylor. You were on Taylor. Yeah, you were on Taylor.
Yeah, I'd have to just stick with that because
Did she just stick with country? I mean, I liked her back in the day.
I don't know.
I just don't follow her like I used to.
I don't know, and it's probably not the kids.
She's just on my age group, probably.
I just know I don't love them like my kids. That would, and I don't know. Maybe that's not unpopular. Maybe that's not unpopular. That's
Cats is a good one.
Everybody.
Cats.
I do like your cat, but that's the only cat out of the 18 trillion that live on this planet. You know, cats will eat you alive if you don't give them.
Tried to
if you don't what?
While we were alive.
Oh yeah.
Most animals result back to a feral state if left hungry. Hunger will drive most animals, and so if you have a cat in your house and you don't feed it,
It'll come after you.
Well, I mean,
I'm not kidding. It could be the loveliest cat.
Humans will do that. That Chilean soccer team that was caught alive. You remember that movie? They crashed in the mountains in like the 80s. And
that's true. That's true.
They cut pieces off their
it's like the Donner
fallen comrades to be able to, and they ended up surviving. They ended up surviving.
You're ruining my dinner for tonight. Thank you.
They dead people first, and then
they didn't even live people.
It was kind of gross.
They didn't even live people.
That did mess me up back then. I remember that movie.
All right, so
how did we fall into that?
Yeah, we went down. Well, you're talking about cats eating people.
I can talk about
you did go into that. You did go into that. I don't know that I have anything else that I'm willing to commit to now. For things that I don't get, that I just don't get. Yeah. But so one of the things I did want to ask you is like, what does living like charitably look like? I mean, we've got for all of us, really throw the question out. But Julie, I mean, what do you think living charitably looks like? I mean, is it just about giving? I mean, we talked about that. We know it's not probably just that way, right?
No, I think it's just helping others.
Yeah.
Whatever, what would Jesus do?
Yeah.
Sort of.
Others before self sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like.
I think it can happen in business really well. If you, I know some people that do it really well and some people that don't. Right?
I do believe businesses that do give back are blessed.
Yeah.
I do believe that.
It's always better, believe it or not, it is scripturally based, but it is better to give than receive.
Yeah, I think Proverbs says something about
it. Just works. Even if you're not a believer, it's just how it works.
No, because biblical principles work whether you believe in them or not, right? And people will say
what you give out, it comes back.
Well, and if you weren't a believer, you might say, well, I want to give to the universe. But that principle of giving and being generous and living generously.
And I think it's giving humbly and anonymously. Like you don't want
Instagram.
You don't want to make like, I gave.
Yeah.
And there's all different kinds of people, but I do think God blesses you more if you just do it and no one knows. Because I do think, especially with the center, y'all will never know all the kids, but I know they thank God for people.
Yes,
just knowing you're helping someone, you don't know who they are, but
that's perfectly fine.
That's okay. To brag is not a good look.
Doing it in the dark is always a good thing for sure. I mean, there's a time for giving. Like Tony, he's wanted to give. There's a time. There's a way to do it.
But he's doing it to get other people to give. That's a difference.
There's a difference. You're right. There's a difference. Yeah.
Jim Pierce was probably the most humble man I ever met. Who gave that large gift and. He didn't really care where his name went at the center. I mean, to me, that was just giving because he truly wanted. But then he'll go out and ask other people to give and tell his story. So I think it's appropriate.
Yeah, I think
I'm just saying
you're
doing it for whatever reason you're doing it. Like it should be because you really want to make a difference.
I think you do, and I think sometimes when you give, because I know sometimes people will say, "Well, I gave, but I don't know what they did with it," and I didn't think they did. Sometimes you just got to give and know that you did it. At a heart, as a cheerful heart, you gave, and then leave the rest up to God.
But then you said about intentionally giving. Typically, I would hope when people are choosing to give to us that they find out who we are, what we do, so they're not questioning, oh, what did they do with my money?
Yeah. Well, for us and our family, because we have been blessed, and we enjoy doing all the things we do, investments and real estate, all these other things. Believe it or not, my podcast is just for fun. But, it's a $10 podcast. But
no, it's 12 now.
12. That's right. We're at the $12. We're at the $12.
We're 2025 for
$12, Julie. But, the thing for us is we want to be intentional because we have a piece of our family office that says that we want to give generously. We want to live that way and be about that. But I do want to do it intentionally because you can get just pounded. That's where I think that giving can be hurtful. I think there's a time that being charitable can be hurtful, which I know is weird, but it can't be helpful. So when I was in downtown Atlanta, I was a pastor in downtown Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
And a default, so it didn't really count. And I've lost all my pastor abilities.
There was nobody that went to this
all my
church.
powers have left my fingertips.
They're right there.
So they're all gone. I've relinquished it. But But it was a homeless and addiction area, but then we had broken families. We had some great families that were together and really good. And so some of them, I'm sure, are probably going to watch this and be like, I wasn't one of those, or I was one of those. Well, you were the right one. So we love to have that and do that. But I had a priest that came and told me as we were helping homeless, he said, you got to be careful. You shouldn't give any money. And that was his big thing, and which I didn't quite understand because I was like, they're hungry. So what we realized was something. So sleeping bags, socks, kits that were good for toiletries, food, sandwiches, things of that nature. You know, we might make some sandwiches and go out and do certain things. And then when they were ready for wanting something, if they really wanted some money, then I had a lot of centers that I could say, here's what I can do, is we can sponsor you through this program. I didn't have many that wanted to go that direction because of wherever they were in their addiction or their mental health or whatever it was. And you can't.
Because you give money, you're going to enable them to go out.
It took me a long time to figure I can't change
know.
people, places, or things. I can't do that. So I can just love them and then hope that when they're ready, then I can be there. And so we did have some people that walked through, crazy enough, and it was one of the hardest things for me, is we had one guy that went through a program that he actually was homeless, and he confessed to us that he had gone to prison for molesting one of his kids.
Interesting.
He's passed away now. He was sorrowful. He didn't know what to do. What's interesting is how we had to navigate that in our church and make sure that people, because I needed to be protecting. Mm-hmm. So we had to navigate a certain way. But he went and got sober, and he got clean. It was many years after coming out of prison. He went and got sober and got clean, and he started doing some incredible things for Jesus.
Beautiful story.
But he had a hole. And there was a reconciliation that happened with his daughters.
That's beautiful.
But he was in a place of addiction that he didn't know how to get out. That's what you don't realize, is that addiction can spiral you in such an incredible thing that you're hurting people in a way that you wouldn't do sober, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it really take over you. Yeah. So it's crazy. So that was a crazy story.
Yeah, I mean, you just never know. You just never know, about people, where they've been, or So
you don't ever know. You don't ever know. Well, one thing that I thought I wrote here too, that charity, it's selfless love. One of the definitions that scripturally and Christians will use the word love and charity. If you go back and you look at the translation in Greek, it's almost synonymous. Charity and love. Charity is almost the super love that Jesus might give us. But charity is a selfless love that is expressed through helping others without expecting anything in return. It is a way to love as God loves. That's what the word charity.
Yeah.
And how we define that.
That's great.
Which and most people don't know this, is one of the most famous, and you may know this, one of the most famous chapters in the Bible, which is a collection of books, right? And so you have the book that Paul wrote to the Corinthians, and in 1 Corinthians 13, we have the chapter of love that's read at almost every wedding across our nation. If you read the New Living Translation, it's going to go, love is... But if you go back to the King James Version, it's going to say, so for instance, it'll say, though I speak with tongues of men and of angels and have not charity. So instead of not love, it's that not charity, I become a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. Mm-hmm. And though I have the gift of prophecy and I understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could move mountains and have not charity, I am nothing. And so in our faith, the word charity and love is really almost
synonymous.
Mm-hmm. Synonymous. Isn't
That's
that
good,
crazy?
Man.
Yeah, that's
Isn't that crazy?
I love that.
So now we'll move to our section. We're kind of closing up. We're getting towards the end, but we're moving to our section, our Dear Jabroni section. So Julie, I know she's an adopted.
Man.
She's elevated to $12. She's not a jabronette. So we always say we're just a bunch of jabronis. We're just old dads
jabronis
trying to figure out how to do this. I don't know.
A jabroni.
Julie's not a jabroni, but she could be an adopted one for today to help us answer this question.
I'll be adopted.
To help an adopted one today. Again, $10podcast@gmail.com. That's 10. So $10podcast@gmail.com. We'll put it up there. Email us your questions you've been pondering. These are all anonymous. We got some questions last week on our email, and this is the one
the names of the
today.
people and their addresses.
No names. It's all anonymous. No names. So you can send this in. You could be 16, 17 dealing with a project. You could be dealing with a coworker that, like I said the other day, maybe they're eating your lunch. We'll tell you all the tricks that you can do to stop them taking the lunch out of the office fridge. Or maybe it's more serious.
With Brandon at your house.
I've had this problem. I know.
Yeah. Well, how do we deal with it?
Whatever you're dealing with in life, we want to try to be a resource. So think Dear Abby, but Dear Jabroni. So Dear Jabronis. We should have some music for this. Dear Jabronis.
Now I'm thinking.
So here's our question for today.
Taylor Swift song.
Julie!
Nice.
So good. Nice. So good. So good. Dear Jabronis. Oh, that's so good, Julie. Dear Jabronis, I have a class. So this is from a student. I have a class that the professor I can't understand. Ooh. The professor might as well be talking in Chinese. What should I do? I need this class for my degree, and it is the only professor teaching it.
I would say learn Chinese. Whew. That would be mine too.
I learned Chinese.
Yeah.
Can I help?
That's a good one. Yes, yes, everybody. We need
macroeconomics business school. I could not get it because it was a big class. Couple, 300 people in the class, broke out into TAs would then tell you, basically teach you the stuff. But mine could not speak English.
Oh, wow.
So it's really just writing on the board. If you have a question, get a tutor.
Get a tutor.
They're
That's
free
a
at your school. Look it up.
And go early. Don't wait.
You
don't
have
wait.
to get a tutor.
By the time you figure out that you're having trouble in this class, don't wait. Don't wait until the midterm. Don't wait until the final. Don't look at the drop ad. Yeah.
So go early.
Go early. Yeah.
If you have anybody in college where your professor, your TA does not speak English, get a tutor.
Does this person speak English though?
Well, I mean, they wrote it in English. They wrote it in English. I think the way I'm reading this question, I'm
talking over their head.
They're talking over their head.
They just don't understand.
Because I'm saying they might as well be speaking.
Mine literally didn't speak English.
By them saying they might as well be speaking Chinese, I'm getting it that they're not understanding. If you've got to have this class, I would say tutoring.
The professor might not be good, right? It could be.
Yeah, but if it's the only one teaching that class, which happens a lot, by the way. My kids have gone through this too. What I told them is to find a tutor. So find a tutor. And then the other thing is if you know an upperclassman that's maybe taking this class, there's a lot of resources too for you can rate my professors, things like that. And in that, might be some students that have taken that class where you could reach out and say, hey, what are the things that I need to know? But a tutor is going to be your best bet, hands down, because if the biggest thing I'll tell you is don't wait. So if you're having this problem, don't wait. If you wait until mid-semester, there's going to be too much loss. There's too much time lost.
You still can get it, but
you're possible. But you're almost half sunk by the end.
The other thing you can do is get other kids in your class to do work groups,
study groups. Good one, Julie.
With a tutor.
Good one, Julie. But in concert, I would do the tutor for sure. But I love that. The study groups are really good.
Get a tutor for all of y'all.
Well, that's true. Yeah, you could just one for all, do it together. But the other thing, too, is that you wouldn't realize some people, they understand the Chinese, right? Or they understand what he's saying.
They can help you.
And they could help you. You're right.
When my son was in engineering school at UCF, they used to have work groups, and they all would gather at Starbucks and study. And
that made me think of the books, like the books for like Architecture for Dummies or for Dummies book.
Yeah.
Maybe there's one for that subject or that particular
class. There might
be a
Cliff Note or something.
Well, there's enough on YouTube. Google it.
YouTube was my first thought.
YouTube's not bad either, but I'm telling you,
AI now.
AI, but they got to be careful because.
Well, I know, but
not
for asking a question.
Not for writing your papers. Don't use it for writing your papers. But asking questions, you could dumb it down for me. You could.
Yeah.
You might should look
talk
at
to the professor.
But I'm telling you,
a lot of times
sometimes they won't, and if they're over your head, they're probably talking over your head when you go to them. Like my kids have dealt with this, and I'm telling you, the number one thing, and you hit it, is I would say I like what Julie said, but I'm telling you, find a tutor. Sure. The tutor resources are there at all these colleges. Every college has tutors. Usually, it's free. I've never known of a college to have them where they're not. But you've got to do it early, because and the thing too is if you wait till late. Like that tutor's not 24/7. They're taking, they're whatever. Yeah. So the group tutoring is a great suggestion, though.
Yeah.
So that's a great
classmate. Talk to them.
And listen, I know you're
find the smartest one in your class and say,
"Hey, that's right." And so I know you sent this into the jabronis because it's anonymous, and I know it's tough for you to get up and say I'm having a problem, but I'm telling you, leaders do this. Yeah. Leaders do this. Leaders don't sit and wallow in not understanding. They go and find the solution and answer. And so that is what you got to do. So be bold out there and do it. Yeah. So I feel pretty good about that answer.
Yeah.
I feel like we did pretty good.
It's a good group answer.
I feel really good about that.
What was the person's name again?
I feel really good. Well, Julie, it is absolute pleasure to have you on our show today.
That's so much fun.
And,
thank you, Julie.
Listen, you got it. Thank you so much. We'll have you on again. We got to do it again. We'll bring some, maybe after the gala or something like that.
If one of these guys is out, I could be your co-host.
Oh, yes. Julie, come in. That'd be so great.
Come on.
That would be awesome. You're right down the road. Yes, Julie. 100%.
Come on.
100%. Well, then you're really a jabroni.
You're in.
You're all in. You're all in. You're all in. This was so much fun. What I do want to say is we loved having you. Got to check them out. The Emerald Coast Children's Advocacy Center. That's ECCAC.org. It'll be up plenty. You'll see it. Definitely check your video.
Go to the mission video.
Go to the mission video. Yeah. Check it out. I'm telling you, if you watch that mission video and you don't donate $1, you ain't got a heart. You're like the Grinch before he got his heart, right?
But they may choose to volunteer, which would be great too. They don't have any money.
Read that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I like this. Emerald Coast Children's Advocacy Center. Let's see. It says, our goal is to eliminate child abuse and neglect, educating children on child safety methods and raising awareness of critical signs, techniques, and available resources can prevent many cases before they occur.
Amen.
And so I love I love that you're championing on both sides, right? You're championing when they've gone through the trauma, and you're trying to champion.
You got to prevent it. The goal is to prevent it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's kind of hard.
You know, my big thing is, and I always say this, it probably won't happen during my lifetime, but I'd love to hang the closed for business sign at both of the centers because all children are living free of abuse and neglect.
Wow. That'd be the best day ever.
That would be the best day.
Let's close this thing down.
Yeah, we need to find a way to retire, get in that.
Well, I've had some retirement plans, but God just flips them, so I'm just done. I'm just like, whatever.
I'm here. Well, this is the section that I like to say, listen up, kids. So listen up, kids. There's a song I want to share with you. And I'm going to share a verse and a chorus here, and I'm not going to sing because it'd be terrible.
Come on.
But this is from a lady by the name Stephanie Gratzinger. And I'm going to read the first verse, and I'm going to read the chorus. And I found this a few years ago. In fact, Brandon was with me after I found it, and I shared it with him because I was going through different things, and it wasn't the same trauma that certainly Julie has dealt with. But we all have trauma, and we all have traumatic situations, and certainly to you. And that's meaningful. But this song stuck with me because I thought this is really what it boils down to. And she's the first verse starts out as this. It says, if my heart could tell a story, if my life would sing a song, if I have a testimony, if I have anything at all, no one ever cared for me like Jesus. His faithful hand has held me all this way. And when I'm old and gray and all my days are numbered on the earth, let it be known, in you alone, my joy was found. So I want to leave you with this, kids. On this side of heaven, we won't always know why things have happened. I've said it before, fairness went out the window with Adam and Eve. But we can sure cling to Jesus, and we can live charitably. Mm-hmm. Or don't. I mean, what the hell do I know?
What the hell do I know? I'm just JB, middle-aged dad with ADD. Candid combos, jokes so lame, jabronis pulling a poker face. Just a couple of dudes with ADD. What the hell do I know? With JB.